furry. Shut the fuck up, cat.
Orpheus, go eat some walruses, orifices, red pill.
Your mistakes, not bad for enough from outer space. Hey, we got another case to solve. Time to figure out again that you live at all. Consequences are bound to the Iraq Ram City outlaws of Christ from your cemetery tax. Master surgery said of this speciality, you will never be a guardian of any galaxy. One with no stars in the wars, yet this was a plot looking show for fun for.
Enjoying your rapping is more than tragic. How? Then your backstory. Before and after him. I'll turn this guy's bin into trash. Compact this ash turd. Oh my god, you killed Freddy. Shut the fuck up, cat.
Orpheus, go eat some walruses, orifices, red pill, blue pill, Morpheus, walruses, seashells by the seas.
Don't run up on my subdivision, or I'ma hit you with something vicious. The urban jungling monkey business, where the sprinters go. Like grumpy stuff, see what we're doing, back to the fact.
That ass slap rat is now honest to bashes all the backlash and trauma fast flash.
Orifices, red pill, blue pill, Morpheus, walruses, seashells by the seas.
Don't run up on my subdivision, or I'ma hit you with something vicious. The urban jungling monkey business, where the sprinters go like grumpy stuff. Why don't you pick up a rusty, and what would you tip and toes, kick the bucket with it? If you come to visit, I'ma kick your ass back to the factory where your work was bred.
Badass of Hopkins back at the office, lab rat is locked in dad's cabin, promising nap. Thank you, watching that. Brat's is honest about that. The daughter's past captures all the backlash and trauma fast flash was all your sad cast abroad, and your audience is as dead as your father. Now the crickets applauding are the only hoppers you got left. Drop it.
Got a 98% rating on Steam. Who gave birth the dev team and whole company from a meme? Then whose stick got old fast with each recurring scheme. It's not me who's cranking sequels just to make ends meet. Jeez.
People look at me and say, ah, the skunkly. People look at you and say,
Nah, he ugly.
trust me, bud, if you don't want to start something, don't fuck with the gumdrop buttons. I see your army standing stiff like who built those? God save the Queen of England's dildo. I'm not saying you can't live your life the way you want to, but you're coming off as oblivious to the situation that you're in.
Of course not! Why would I be oblivious? I'm Cashmere the Trickster Bunny. I'm completely aware of my surroundings.
Evil trios, I resent them now. I said defending the kingdom protects Stephen's crown. Thank God for 1 to 6, you barely count. The forgotten Austin has an empty house. You can't get a sentence out before breaking down, so stop crying right there. The Eval says the multiverse fight is stronger variant. Make this fight quite fair.
Her Drake's lineage has taken more than a hit. Gone from well-known explorer to fraudulent prick. His history's a grift, mine's always been rich. They would draw me solving mysteries before there was ink.
Kinda horror to think. You went from Scorch in the Ring to the CGI abortion of the Scorpion King. How does it feel to be in every second movie? But every second of your movies is so fucking boring it stings. After a
You're just another troublemaking brat that keeps stretching my patience, and it's gonna. It's no wonder your animation went in the gutter. Like Nick and Hunter, your business model from
Wilson, cat got your tongue. That's the only way that this dead twat would get some. This spotted heads up, cause the colors with that. But so many wives play to make sense. You're in the X-Clock.
Don't try to hide it, I can tell by your face. Everyone in your family thinks you're a fucking disgrace. And I bet that you ate something they barely have heard. Cause you're big bone like me, except way, way more. But keep your 2 chins up, Charlie, don't give in to fear. Who cares if you haven't been relevant in 56 years? Who cares if all your friends secretly think you're totally lame? Who cares if all the girls who respect you are totally gay?
Suspect is not armed, nor is dangerous. Be on caution and be on alert.
Name? John Jacob.
Really? The kid? You gotta be kidding me.
I'm just as perplexed as you are.
I've been through so much on the basis to the point where my life's a status quo. I'm expected to be complacent, but now I'm ready to explode.
know. Doing goes, yeah, I'm out of control. I'm boasting, toasting, ghosts on the roll. Let's go. Green eyes shine bright when they glow. Better post up with my next best show. Like a heart, man, with a heart, man. Don't you start, man. Spit you apart, man. Got my pals and my tucker up. I'm inside no Disney ending when my hair's no white. It wasn't all this way. This ain't your old kind of play. My ghostly pals made me insane when my molecules got rearranged. And to this day, I'm not the same, but I use my brain to play the game. I find a train, but don't meditate. Yet I stray away from the darkness in me. And
oh, a baseball player. Oh.
What?
Oh.
What?
Oh.
What?
What's up?
I'm
off.
There's no feathers within her door, so take us.
Monokuma, our students don't have a lot in common. For one, mine probably know what an octagon is. It may be true that we both entertain a lot of kids, but unlike you, they're actually my target audience. So I don't need to drop hints on your games with the popcorn, cause everyone that's watching already knows they're dog shit. When educating toddlers, you gotta make it obvious. No wonder all your games end with the same fucking plot twist.
Mr. King dies, don't you even try now, otherwise you'll see why. They call it House. I'm the dude that Netflix tunes. Why Disney didn't want the name next to you? I test tricks upon you, couldn't beat my cards, cause the king of hearts, cause we be king of hearts.
You're none the wiser. Look, not the type of dude to say off with his head. Feed him to the dog with the crock for a head. Look, even Sauron watches with dread, scared of the terror that the coffin begets. And your followers left. Sinopolis still kneels down to me since the dawn of my myth spawn. Tie my name to the grave, cause they know that the god of the dead still lives on. Yeah.
Spent 10 episodes over the garden wall, but then I scrapped it. There's not much content to show at all. YouTube's righteous philanthropist is here to confront you. Let's be real, you're simply Razzie in an all-black jumpsuit. I'm Mr. Beast. Can make a battle with
the flames. Self-explanatory, but he controls all things related to heat and fire. Body, temperature, natural sun, and of course, electricity.
How do you do that?
You know, honestly, I have no f***ing clue. Pretty epic though, isn't it?
Very hungry caterpillar when it comes to rap similar. Creepy crawlers, Ethan Dollar, and how much this track fit in her. She move like butter and I'm flyest in the room. I rapped harder than you and now I'm spinning my cocoon.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Sorry. Hi guys! I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous doing this stream just cause we've had a constant. Every time I do these live streams, we have a coin toss of whether or not we get people to stay and actively talk during the live stream. So forgive me, I'm a little nervous, but we're gonna press on. Greetings, peoples of the. Sorry, excuse me. Greetings, peoples of the interwebs. My name is Richie. First things first, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for coming on to the live stream. For those who did come on, I apologize for the many. Times I kind of like shoehorned the fact that this live stream was happening in some way, shape, or form. I constantly talk about it like on TikTok and on YouTube and on Twitter and BlueSky. Primarily it's just because I'm nervous. Like I'm really nervous on doing this live stream, but how do I explain it? My biggest reason why I'm nervous on doing these kind of live streams is just because there's not a lot of engagement. And because there's not a lot of engagement, I feel like sometimes I get to talk to a wall, and that's not fun for me. So if you guys are in the live stream at all, watching it, have any questions, please feel free to chat. Say what's on your mind. Say what you think. What we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be going through Animated the series, the pitch deck. I'm also going to be going through just the Q&As that we have, talk about the business aspects of everything, and then we're going to go on and after that point, we would start asking questions, and yeah, that's pretty much it. This isn't gonna be like one of those work live streams, so I'm not going to be showing off my works or talking or like doing that kind of Q&A. Primarily, everything's gonna be just a one-to-one kind of conversation. So first things first, if you've seen me on TikTok, if you've seen me on BlueSky, if you've seen me on YouTube Shorts, welcome. My name is Richie. I will talk about myself more later on in the live stream, but just to give a good break, just a quick TLDR of who I am. I am an independent animator who has worked on commissions and other projects for YouTubers such as Camsteady, Freshie Canal, Eddie FOB, and I've also been on Anthony Padilla's I Spent a Day With series and Assumptions. So if you're watching this channel and you're just like, how the hell did I subscribe to this person? You probably also subscribed from the Anthony Padilla days. But I also have a family in the entertainment industry. One of my siblings is Cammy Waddell, who made songs such as Communication and Wolf Boy, in which was in the Quarry video game, which is really cool. But another sibling of mine is Justice Smith, who's been in movies such as I Saw the TV Glow, Dungeons and Dragons, Detective Pikachu, among many others. I don't say these things to be like, hey, look at me, I have this kind of family. I say these things to prove the point that the entertainment industry is really rooted in me and rooted within the family. So like all of us are some form of entertainers, and me just bringing up my brother and sister is just kind of like a, what's the word? It kind of just solidifies what I'm talking about and tries to explain that I have this kind of background in the entertainment industry. But I haven't gotten my name out there. So this is going to be the kind of time where I would be trying to get my name out there in my own way, which is making an indie animated show, which I've been working on for a long time. Hello there, Insert Name Podcast. Welcome to the chat. But for us to have a successful live stream here, I'm going to need some back and forth from you guys. So if you're one of those people who watch casually while, I don't know, working on some other stuff, or have me in the background, I would really appreciate it if you devote as much of your time and energy into this. I'm autistic, so I completely get it when when it's hard for me to focus on one specific thing. So try to work with me as much as possible, and we could have this kind of back and forth as well. Questions will be saved until the end of the PowerPoint presentation, but I will also be answering the questions that were in the chat, that were on the other videos and on TikTok and BlueSky and YouTube Shorts first, compared to the ones that will probably show up on the stream. I think that's everything. Thanks, brother. How we doing? I'm fantastic. I am nervous. I am nervous as fuck, but I am fantastic. Thank you so much for asking, especially when it's Indie Animation Day, and we've been kind of prepping this for like weeks. The stream for weeks, but we've been working on a lot of projects for the past month and a half. I'm really excited to show off what we have. And you guys get to get a 57-second sneak preview of the next video coming out, so that's gonna be really exciting as well. Let's see. What else is there on here that I need to talk? Oh yeah, one more. I always say one more thing. Donations and any kind of funding will be available down in the description below if you want to support the live stream, support the studio, because there's a lot of other artists and animators that I have also linked in the description below, because despite the fact that you're not going to see them today, everyone in the description really works hard. So I would appreciate it as well if you go follow the people in the description below, support the Ko-Fi. All the donations will be linked to the stream, so I will get notifications for donations and whatnot. What's indie animation, if you don't mind me asking? Great question. Indie animation is basically the smaller subset of communities where they make their own show based on their own smaller groups. Basically, we're not Disney. We're not Marvel. We're not Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. We are building our own IPs and shows from the ground up. And Animated, the series, has been being created since 2020, but everything's been planted since 2018. So 2025 now, we have released the first 3 episodes, but we are trying to shift into a much better quality for episode 4 and so on and so forth, which is what we're raising up for. First things first, though. Oh, what did I do? Oh, sorry. First things first, though. Let's have a word for our sponsor. Yes, we have sponsors. We have sponsors in this stream. And by sponsors, I mean my fiance. So just really quick, I did mention that I was going to sponsor, but my fiance, her name, she goes by Rainbow Boutique online. She makes a lot of crochet, merchandise such as beanies. A lot of people in the description, a lot of people who watched the Assumptions video that I was in commented about this beanie. It was like, oh my gosh, Richie's beanie is really cool. Where did you get that beanie? My fiance made it. She has her own crocheting business. If you want to support her, it's Rainbow Boutique, just like this.com. And she also has a Ko-Fi page called I'm Grand Theft. Ko-Fi.com/I'm Grand Theft. There are 2 different kinds of shops. The first one being more for just crochet stuff. And the second shop is primarily if you're a Fall Out Boy fan and you're part of the Fall Out Boy community, this is where you would go to get some Fall Out Boy merch. Obviously, they're themed, and they're more of just her. They're more of inspiration and themes rather than direct, not connection. You know what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that they work hard. They work very hard, and you guys. She deserves all the love and attention, so go ahead and support her as well. Now let's go back into the live stream and talk about Animated, the series. What the fuck? There we go. Alright. So logline. So basically, for those who don't know the Animated, the series, John Jacob, the logline is John Jacob, a blank-slated identity, joins a group of predecessors from keeping the multiverse in check, all while knowing he's in a web show. I know when you hear the whole all while knowing he's in a web show, you think of The Truman Show, which is not, this is not the case. Excuse me. John Jacob is someone who could break the fourth wall, primarily because of the powers that were bestowed upon him, not necessarily because he's pulling a Deadpool. These powers that he has gives him the abilities to see all that's metaphysical and physical, which means he could see the comments, he could see the description. So despite the fact that there's this whole other narrative in this show, John Jacob knows that it's fake. Pretty much, right? Director's statement. I'll read this out and then I'll talk about myself a little bit in this case. I have been on YouTube since late 2017 to early 2018, trying to establish a name for myself and find the type of content that I want to make. I started with making storytime animations, but soon created side characters for the fun of it. At a certain point, establishing these characters and fleshing out their personalities was more fun to me than talking about my life. A life in which was hard growing as an autistic trans person of color. I am not silent about this. I have been through a lot. And I use this my mental health awareness as like an experience to help out other people who are going through some hardships themselves. And I think, that's kind of what I advocate for that. I advocate for mental health awareness, and I advocate for people speaking out for who they are and what they go through, because no one needs to bottle that up. Not only is Animated, the series, a show tackling the concept of existentialism using foils of religion and other forms of purposes in life, but it's a foil of my mentality not only at this time period, but my present. Studying how people find purposes and meanings in life is extremely fascinating to me, which developed my personal fascination towards sociology and philosophy. I have made robot analysis recently, I think in January. If you haven't watched that video, the new animated philosopher, please go ahead and do that. I put a lot of time and care, I put a lot of TLC into that. But I love philosophy. I love sociology. Some of the things that people don't really understand or know is that I love understanding why people do the things that they do. And this probably comes from my own personal existential crisis that I've had growing up, of what is the meaning of life and who we are. And I love diving deep on how people find their own purposes and meanings of life. And I wanted this show to not only be entertaining, funny, and innovative, but I want people to think and question about their own life paths. These characters go through a lot. Like, the reason why I said that the TV rating, if this was on TV, was TVMA, is because these characters are going to go through a lot. Like, a lot. Like, you have people going through some life-altering trauma in this because that's life. And people go through that. It's not... The reason why I have it on, like, TVMA is because I didn't want to sugarcoat that. If someone gets trigger warning for any kind of triggering topics, but if someone goes through some serious physical abuse, if someone goes through some child neglect or abandonment, or topics of incest, topics of sexual assault, I don't believe in hiding or shielding that kind of stuff under metaphors. I think in those situations we need to talk about them direct and straightforward. These characters go through a lot, and I have talked to a lot of people who have been through these kind of experiences, and also done research on my own with these experiences, and I want to treat them very cut and dry, not sugar-coated, because that doesn't feel right. But it also doesn't have to also be like, how do I say it? I also don't want to like explicitly say it too, because at least from the experiences that I've had in talking to people, I've never really heard a lot of people flat out say, I've done this, I have been through this. But they also still don't hide that fact. If that makes sense. What I'm trying to say is that this is going to be a lot. The show is going to be a lot to handle for a lot of people. But I like the show. I think this is going to be a really good show. We already have every episode for season 1 recorded, written. Everything's done. All we're doing here is raising up for the animation process of everything. But the studio's mission statement, for those who don't know who I am in the RoboRebellion Studios, I'll read this real quick and then I'll expand on it. Imagine you're at a movie theater with a friend, family member, a significant other, and you look around at all the other people. Some people are in front of you, and some people are in behind of you getting popcorn. One of them's just sitting and waiting, the other one's telling a wonderful story that you can't eavesdrop into. Regardless of that, though, they have their own lives and stories. Even though you're dealing with your lives, they all have their own individual stories based on the common setting that brought you guys there. You're getting popcorn for a movie. RoboRebellion Studios wants to showcase the background characters just as much as the main characters. How does one character react in one show? How does a main character in one show get impacted by the actions of another character? They have their own problems, stories, ideologies, religions, and many more. However, they all share the common similarities of being in the same movie theater. Here's a shower thought that I've had that I think would really work well with this studio's mission statement. Has anyone ever been to a lookout point? You've been out there, you're seeing all the beautiful lights, skylines, you see all the cars driving. A lot of people look at the locations and they think, oh wow, this location is so beautiful. You can see all the pretty lights, the pretty colors. But with me, I'm looking at every individual car and thinking, wow, that person can drive. That person grew up from a kid to being able to drive. How did they learn how to drive? Where are they going? How did they get there? Where do they come from? Where do they go? Where did they come from, Cotton Eye Joe? So just kind of stuff like that. That's what's constantly going through my mind. And I wanted to really experiment that with the studio's mission statement. So every show, every IP, every video is going to have the same overarching setting of being in the same movie theater. Despite the fact that the show itself is a own separate, different story. Kind of like the Mr. Plushy guy says, kind of like the Watcher for Marvel, right? I am not entirely sure on what the Watcher is, but I would definitely look into that while in stream after the PowerPoint presentation is done. But I will go through that. So, who am I? My full name is Richie St. James Smith. I'm an independent animator from YouTube, from a family within a family from the entertainment industry. I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but my sister Cameo Adele has notable songs such as Communication and Wolf Boy, which Communication is right now one of my favorite songs of hers, and Justice Smith, who is an actor who's been in films such as I Saw the TV Glow, The Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves, Detective Pikachu. And I have worked with creators such as Fresh Canal, Anthony Padilla, Eddie FRB, Cam Steady, among many others. I said this earlier in the stream, but I'm not talking about my sister or my brother to be like, oh. I'm not talking about my sister and my brother being like, oh, hey, my siblings do cool shit. I'm saying it more of just how rooted the entertainment industry is within me and within the family. I use them as an example. I found RoboRebellion Studios in 2020. Actually, I was on a call with Justice, and he was talking to me about taking risks. And I've started my origins from doing smaller commissions from other content creators. Some people have came to this channel after I made Kirby vs. the Very Hungry Caterpillar, Eric Cartman vs. Charlie Brown, Eric Cartman vs. Freddy Fazbear. I've had some of my videos show up on LS Mark's videos, and something about that feels so fucking weird. In a good way, obviously. So, I did videos for said creators and have built animated this series. I established myself as a director. I established myself as a cinematographer and an editor. Primarily an editor. But I wanted to build and animated this series as my own thing. So as I've talked about, the themes of the show is going to be dealing with existentialism, nihilism, mental health. There's going to be action because there's a lot of powers and elements from there. But this is going to be more character-driven and drama influence. There are action pieces, and this is a show where they're dealing with a lot of fighting, but this isn't an action show, if that makes sense. This show is primarily dealing with drama and mental health, and also just people's purposes in life. It is funny. I do think there's a lot of funny moments in this show, but it's supposed to be taken as like, what I hope the audience does with this show is they latch onto a character and relate to them. Rather than idolizing, rather than worshiping, they look at these characters, they're like, oh my gosh, I see myself a little bit in John Jacob. I see myself a little bit in Venice. I see myself a little bit in Morley Crawford. Those kind of stuff. And I'll talk about those characters soon. But right now, we have been in the stream for about 28 minutes. I think it's a good time to show a sneak preview of a minute of just the rough animation of not the show, but a video that we're hoping to release later this month or early next month within the show's universe. With the left person being a character named Haim and the right person being named John Jacob. So let's go ahead and show off this sneak peek. If you haven't noticed, I've never had like a kind of formulated like structure like this before. So hopefully it gets the point across. Hopefully this video even streams well on YouTube. But we're gonna just experiment and see. But here we go. I am going to mute myself. Here is a minute sneak preview of the next video, work in progress. We're already dealing with technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. Is this seat taken? Oh, what are you doing here? You know, I ask myself that every day. But you would know that, huh? Are we speaking telepathically? I mean, you're not opening your mouth. I'm not opening mine. Seems like it. What do you want? Nothing. Nothing really. Just want to read your mind a bit. There's nothing for you to read because you're pure energy incarnate. Oh, woo, big deal. So what? So many people have so many abilities and talents and shit. You have an anthropomorphic hamster who can build contraptions, several stick figures in this place, and then you have... You know, Creator doesn't have a lot of innovation. What do you want, Haim? You like this void, huh? That's all you get. That's all you get. That whole one clip... let me fix this. That one clip has taken us about a month and a half to 2 months to make. So, yeah, that's the kind of quality we're expecting from the studio. And we're always accepting donations. We're always accepting any extra help as possible for this studio. And for the content that we make. Currently, the artists are working on episode 4 as we speak, while I am presenting the studio. Can I just talk about the artists? I've worked with these artists and animators with when I was in the Salty DK Dan collab. I've recruited all of them from there, and they're such a delight. They're such a delightful bunch of people, and from that I have also expanded the studio, and we've hired some producers who are also such a bundle of joy. They're a bunch of people that I would not ever be able to have the studio without. So yeah, this, needless to say, a lot of this stuff means a lot to me. It means a lot to the studio. I would really appreciate if you guys, like, all the donations that we get from Ko-Fi is not going at all to me. It's going to pay off these beautiful and talented artists and animators who want to also get their voices out there as well. Who trust me as a creative. And I really do appreciate that. But now let's go through all the characters of Animated this series. Starting with John Jacob. He is 18 years old at the start of the series. He's the protagonist. He has, everyone is known as the group of predecessors, which are, delegate, they're like the people, how do I say it? They're like appointed by the gods of the multiverse to keep the multiverses down in check. John Jacob's god is the god of spirituality, and because of this, he's extremely existential. He's extremely nihilistic. He is a pure energy incarnate being. He doesn't have the pink spikes on him at the moment because this is the very beginning of Animated the series, but that does how do I say it? That does regulate his current mood. So depending on the color of those pink spikes will showcase his mood. But he's also a coward. He's a coward, but he's also all talk. You're not really supposed to like John Jacob in the beginning, but you'll understand why he's going through the things he's going through. And the main villain, Marcus Bradley, who's played by the talented Michael Stark, who you probably seen on, how do I say it? He's Michael Stark plays as Marcus Bradley. He's a very awesome person. He's a really great friend. He is the antagonist of the show. 70 years old. He is 70 years old, but he is physically 21. He's the original Shadow Glitch, which I'll talk about later on in the PowerPoint. But his origin is he's an intern that worked on the first computers, the first 2 computers, and he's a human and magic hybrid. And because of the magic that's surrounding him, it halts his age and growth. You remove the magic from him, and he becomes 70 years old. Just flat out. Then you have Marley Crawford, who's played by the lovely Brooke Johnson. She is very fact of the matter. She has been through a lot of trauma herself. She's extremely book smart. She has extreme book smarts and is cocky. And she's also a natural born leader. She is the leader of this predecessor group that they have. Even though John Jacobs, the show's protagonist, she is the leader of this group of people. Then you have Carly Maker, who's a closeted gender fluid person who's played by Catabel and Sorry. She's also really good at what she does. She's very energetic. She's very caring and excitable. Carly can also be somewhat air-headed, and she's also a hopeless romantic. The weather abilities get stronger with every emotion, with how passionate her emotion gets. Then you have Every West, who's played by the lovely Zagranis, who has done a lot of commissions and mixing and voice acting within the rap battle community. Every West is very hyperfixated and focused. He is bisexual and he's closeted mentally. In the sense, when I mean closeted mentally, I mean more in the sense of he doesn't really like to express his feelings. Not in the sense of like he doesn't like. He talks about his feelings, but he doesn't express them. If that makes sense. In other words, he puts up a front a lot. He's extremely curious and constantly asking questions. He's the most in tune with the respected god, and he's dating Ernesto. Who is Ernesto? This guy. Ernesto Caprice is gay. He's the calm and collected kind of person. His power, you can tell by just the still images on what the powers are from these characters. But because of his trauma in the past for being gay, he has a lot of closeted emotions, and he's hardened due to that trauma. He's extremely metaphorical, he's constantly curious, and he's dating Every West. So you have someone here who is extremely curious and constantly asks questions, and someone who's closed off and collected. Already we're having a bit of a misfit dating situation here. Then you have Gregory Harris. You have a 19-year-old military... Oh, I forgot to say. Ernesto Caprice is played by the lovely Extra Fuzzy Dice, who's known as also Jared Diciccio on YouTube. And then there's Gregory Harris. Right now we have a voice actor for him, but we're debating on recasting just because of him doing other things. And if we were to get more... episodes and a bigger season, I wouldn't want to recast in the middle of the show, if that makes sense. But anyways, Gregory Harris is a 19-year-old military vet who lied about his age at 15. He got emancipated as a minor, and he's the straight man to everyone in the group. What that means is he's the person who gets talked to a lot. He's the straight man. He is a hardened leader, and he has post-trauma from the war. Then you have Venice Chuck. Venice Chuck, played by the ever-so-talented Freshie Canal, who knows... I mean, if you're following me from the rap battle community, then you know who Freshie Canal is. But Venice Chuck is very short-tempered. He constantly swears. Physically, he is the strongest in the group, and he comes from a German-Austrian family. A family riddled with Ritters. For those who don't know who Ritters are, they're basically the knights of they're the knights of Austrian culture, of the Austrians back in the day. So Venice has a history of knights and the past of being knighted. He's the most in tune romantically, and he's the validation seeker. He's the kind of person who does the things that he does just so he can get attention. Just so people know who he is, and just so people accept him for who he is. Kind of approach. And then you have Ace, who is basically who's derived from Marcus's and the Glitch's DNA. Ace is a blank slate, and he primarily takes on Marcus's sadistic side. Ace is played by the talented Carrick Inabnet, who is also known as Raccoon Bro VA. If you are from the Death Battle versus community, then you would know him very well from his Death Battle 10 words or less videos, which are usually like 2 hours long instead. But yeah, he's played by Ace. So who are the glitches? Ooh, we got GIFs. Moving GIFs. Glitches are the powerful entities that protect the barrier between dimensions. They are weak to pure energy. The high exposure can cause them to be unstable. Despite the appearances, they are very harmless. But they take on the personality of the host, which in this case is Marcus Bradley. And because Marcus Bradley has corrupt intentions, now the glitches have corrupt intentions. How the world works is that you have one dimension. Can you see me if I'm doing this? Right here. This. You have one dimension, and then you have the glitches. The white void, glitches, then your second dimension. And when people travel dimensions, they're going through this entire path of two ends of glitches. Glitch entities that protect the barrier between dimensions. I'll talk about the white void. Like, the video coming out soon will discuss more about the white void. But for those, just a quick breakdown. The white void is the in-between of dimensions. It's also the HUD of where the dead reside. The Dimensional Diamond is a powerful source of energy founded by John Jacob. It's capable of harnessing dimensions and emitting dimensions. It uses massive amounts of energy. This GIF that you're looking at is from the Pixel Dimension short film. The Pixel Dimension short film that is not out yet, but is a work in progress. We anticipate that to come out at the end of the year, but that would depend on how the funding goes for the studio. It's time to talk about the RobOlore real quick. For those who don't know, this RobOlore has been going on since 2017. We go to right here, the playlist. You can see on the right side here, you have a bunch of videos that date back to 2017. Some of the cringe to some of the newest ones. And then you can also see, if you look closely, there are some videos that aren't from this channel.
Building your online business?
Yes, I'm building my online business.
Go to Wix.
Yeah,
.com
yeah.
And set up your...
Okay, keep going. Alright, so let me show you how everything's connected per se. You go right here. This is Eric Cartman versus Charlie Brown. This video has 3.1 million views on Eddie FRB. I am the primary animator. No, I am the main animator of this video. Hi, Texas Artos, welcome in.
The chili and
But
the
you can look at
your
this.
brother. Pulse a freak, nobody would love you in their...
There's John Jacob. John Jacob's right there. You go into the Pokemon Friendlock collab, which is where I grabbed a lot of the artists and animators here.
I can't. I'm so set on my goal right now.
Let me show you this and how this is connected to the lore too.
I don't know what's happening.
Please go talk to him.
I literally can't turn around.
The wizard cursed him, oh no.
You see a lot of glitching, a little different art styles
guys, don't
showing
worry.
up.
I think I can make it to the exit if I just keep
Hello,
walking.
Miss Awesome.
Oh my
We pitch deck.
This baseball player really wants to talk to me. Hey, stop walking.
Look at this character. Look at him.
Dude, I want to talk to you. No, stop. Stop walking.
Did you see? You saw John. You had to see John Jacob there. Then we go to Michael Stark's video of.
I think you know Wix. Do you really?
Yes, I do know Wix.
First
I
up,
do.
we've.
Okay, stop with the ads. You go here. Detective Pikachu. Howard the Duck versus Detective Pikachu.
Oh, Pikachu was...
Back here, you have John Jacob in the top right corner. This was made in 2023. You go all the way down to The Rock, Paperboy versus Edward Scissorhands.
Wix gives you the freedom to tell your story.
And then we go all the way to this part.
Scissors.
John Jacobs right there too. You get what I'm trying to say. You go to 2023, Nutcracker versus the Gingerbread Man. This video has trended. Why am I getting a lot of Wix ads all of a sudden? This video was, I thought it was 2023. I guess it's 2022. God, that's old. But 2022, you go all the way over here. This soundbite, I heard trended on TikTok. So,
Birthday. People look at me
this
and say,
soundbite?
ah, the skunkly. People look at you and say, nah, he ugly.
Now let's skip this a bit.
When's the last time you showed up on someone's wish?
You look on the list. Kobo, Very Hungry Caterpillar, there's Henry, there's Animated, and then there's me. So the point is, what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to iterate is that this lore has been really built up since 2017. It has been posted on a bunch of other YouTube channels to the point where people know John Jacob just cause he's synonymous with the creations I make. Kind of like a watermark. Okay, I get it. But the show talks about it. So here, we have a timeline. On the very left, you have the very first old, very terrible animation that I made back in 2017. Oh god, this is so gross. Look at how gross this animation is. But like, the point is, that's the first video ever created. This is the first John Jacob appearance in 2018. And then you had the first appearance of the glitches in 2018. All of these are terrible videos, but you gotta go through the bad to get to the good. This is the first appearance of this dimensional diamond. The first appearance of Guy Wilkes, who is a character in the show. The first appearance here in 2022. Let's see. But this is pretty much a long video. I'm not going to play this whole thing. But this long video has the first appearance of every single character from Animated. May 2023 is the first episode of Animated, the series. Then you have Animated episode 2, where you meet Moily for the first time. This is April of 2024. This is the first appearance of Heim, which if you hear earlier, you saw the sneak preview. That's the first appearance of Heim. Now, this is a senior thesis film that I created before I got my bachelor's degree, which this film costed $3,000. But this shows the interior of the Dimensional Police Agency, which you can see that is a completely different world. Then we have Animated episode 3, which is the most recent animated episode. And then where we are right now, we have the new Animated Philosopher. So needless to say, this show has been thought about and worked on since August of 2017. So it really means a lot to get that kind of donations and get that kind of support in the studio, because this wasn't something of the spur of the moment that we came up with. Which is funny because Animated episode 1 came out in 2023, but only until last year there was a resurgence of people of indie shows like the Amazing Digital Circus and Hazbin Hotel. I get nervous thinking that, like, because I'm now promoting this show heavily and like full force, that I'm gonna be grouped into like jumping on the bandwagon of the Amazing Digital Circus and Hazbin Hotel. But we've been working on it since 2017. It's just that until now it was only just me. So there's that. Alright, let's move forward. Ooh, look at all the videos play at once is really cool. Alright. Boo! Boo! We gotta talk about business. We gotta talk about the boring shit. Yeah, that's how studios are. It's not always about the animation and the art and the fun work and stuff. I have to be transparent on the finances and talk about where we are getting the funding, per se. If you see on the bottom right here, we have Animated episode 4 and the goal being $7,200. Now, I want to be transparent on that and how much that kind of is. So, Animated episode 4, this breakdown of the finances is only towards Animated episode 4. My anticipation is if we can get Animated episode 4 kickstarted and through, and shared and posted all over social media on TikTok and YouTube, get that kind of SEO tags and marketing up and situated, then we can rely on that kind of exposure and notoriety from this show to fund the other stuff. Because currently, right now, we don't have monetization on this channel, and that's not primarily because of the subscriber count, but because of the watch time. So I wanted to solidify what the show is and who we are and what we're trying to go after, just so you guys can understand how this, where you guys could help possibly come in. Storyboards for this entire episode is going to be $2,600. Same thing with the rough animations and the coloring. Total altogether with all that is $6,100. But the Void, the preview which you saw, is costing me $1,200. The music video, which has also been talked about on the channel, also is $1,200. So altogether, that is $2,500. I am raising up $7,200, but currently we are in a deficit of $8,600. Any remainder of these projects, or at least until funding comes through, is coming entirely out of my pocket through Uber Eats, commissions, etc., etc. Which is where the Ko-Fi comes in. If you go to ko-fi.com/Richie with 2 E's at the end, there is a link in the description below. I do have commissions. We're using all that kind of commission work money to go into animated the series. Like, none of that money is coming to me. I want to stress this out. I am not keeping any money. Every single dollar that we raise from this studio is going straight back to them, which comes to the question, how am I going to get my money and my funds? I'm doing Uber. I'm doing Uber to get myself by, and I'm doing commissions, and I'm doing animation commissions to get myself by as well. But in terms of Ko-Fi and any kind of funding, that goes straight to the audience, the artists. So if you ever want to purchase a commission, you like my art style so much and you want some of your characters in it, you can go ahead and go into the link in the description below. We have commissions from $25 to $55. And yeah. And now, the moment you have all been waiting for, the Q&A. Whew. We went through all that. So much stuff. Did everyone follow along? Is everyone following along? Did you get confused? This is now the time to ask any questions about the show. Anything. Anything you would like to. And while we do that, let me go ahead and pull up as many questions as we possibly can for animated this. Let me pull up all the questions we possibly can, is what I'm trying to say. Let's see. But while we do this, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and leave them in the chat. This is now the time to do so. First things first, though, I will be answering the questions that were on here. Let's start with this one. Alrighty. So, hopefully this is viewable. Let me see. Let me see on the stream. I have the stream on my phone to see if you guys can read that. If you guys can't read it, then I'll blow it up a bit. I'll blow up the stream. Okay, you can see it. So basically, for those who have seen on TikTok and YouTube, I've had a lot of people asking about how I'm building an animation studio from the ground up. So Random Dragon EXE says, building an animation studio from the ground up? That's a dream come true. Love to see your progress. If you don't mind me asking, where is it planned to be state-wise? That is a wonderful question. The studio is based in Los Angeles, California, because that is my hometown. We hope to get a physical studio around Burbank or Glendale. However, right now, because we don't really have any money at all, I mean, we do, but like it's coming out of my personal pocket, everyone is remote. But what I do hope in the future is that if we get enough funding for the studio, we can go ahead and expand and have a physical studio in Burbank. What I would really hope to do is to fly everyone to live out here and be able to give everyone a substantial income to live out in LA. That's my dream. to be able to fund any of the artists who are on here full time to live in California for free. I mean, not necessarily for free, but like they're getting paid to work on the studio, and that money they can use on a place in LA. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I hope. That's the dream. Another question we got is thoughts on Rick and Morty. The two genders. Honestly, I put this in here because I thought it was funny, and I think it's a good juxtaposition from all the other stuff going on. But Rick and Morty is a good show. I think Rick and Morty gets a little weird for my taste, but I love the nihilistic existentialism that they bring up in that show. I think a lot of people give it a lot of shit just because, oh, the fan base is cringy. I think Rick and Morty is a fine show. Is it my favorite show? Is it a great show? That's a different story. But I think it's fine. I think it's a really decent show. Texas Oitos. Hey, he's in the chat. He's one of the colorists and storyboard artists. Give him a round of applause. He deserves it. What's your process for making scripts? More specifically, how do you go about making dialogue for characters? Good question. So, it's a little weird. How I usually write scripts is that I would type out a script myself. I have a bachelor's degree in film and creative producing. I have had to write many a script while I was in university. But how I do it is I write based on the beats that I want. And then I would act out the scripts myself. And any of those kind of small ad-libs that I would put in, I would write that in the script instead. Doing stuff like this makes the conversations a lot more realistic and a lot more approachable rather than just me reading off a piece of paper. For all the voice actors that we have on the studio, I tell them to add a little bit of a you flair to it because I want them to be natural in the scripts. So sometimes you're going to get a lot of ad-libs. Sometimes you're going to get a lot of improvisation. And I think that adds a lot more... That adds a little more personal to the voice actors and to the person reading the script. So when it comes to making scripts, I write them how I usually write. And then when I'm acting them out, I kind of deviate a little bit. Just as long as I have the beat of this character is asking this character this question, and so on and so forth. What process does your animation follow? Like, what steps are after the storyboarding to get to the final look? How many people are on each team? Okay, this implies that I have a studio of 40 people. No, it's just me and a couple goofballs. Great goofballs, but they're goofballs. No, we have there's 8 of us. 8 of us including me. But, how the animation process works, actually, I can show that right now. I'll show some of the work in progresses for the My Episode music video. Because I think that gives away, that shows off how the process is. Alright, so let's see. Give me 1 second, let me go ahead and pull up that. Okay, let me pull this up. So how it works is that we first have a thumbnail sketch. These thumbnail sketches are the things that I create that's very chicken scratch. It's just, all it is that it gets the characters down and then it gets the placements down. So you have this. Moment where it all comes down to me. Gets up, you can take my down out. This is my time to shine. I face the entire series down. Now it's time to take back my life. Okay, so you have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also show off the next part. Let me see if I can show off that. No, this is the finished thumbnails. No, I don't want to show this off. This. Is it this? Yeah, it's this. This is my climactic moment. This has been done by PYX. After I sent him the thumbnail sketches, he does this to it. Right? It's pretty simple, right? You get the thumbnail sketches, and then they turn it into the storyboarding, which in this case is the animatic. But I want the people, when they're working on this, to focus on the characters and the perspective. That's why you see a lot of the characters, a lot of them fully fledged out, and those perspective lines, because I don't care if they do the backgrounds. If they want to do the backgrounds, that's fine, but I'm paying them to do everything, like the other stuff. This is because I can do the backgrounds. I can do the animation myself. And I do the animation myself. I do the line animation. I pay these artists just to help offset the workload that I have trying to fully fledge the studio, because it's a lot of work. A studio's really hard. But after the storyboarding, how it is that we get into the rough animation, which is, if you've seen The Void, hold on, let me see if I can show this. Do I have progress? I only really have do I have progress? Let me see.
If you want.
That's not it. If I could show off just the, here, let me see. Oh, here we go. This is good. Is this good? See, now you have some of the rough animations being done. Like that.
I've been through so much on a basis to the point where my life's a status quo.
So you now have those rough animations. And then what I would do is I would fully animate them. And then I would do some editing and compositing. And then you get something like this.
So much on a basis to the point where my life's a status quo. I'm expected to be complacent, but now I'm ready to explode. Have to take a script and rewrite it. Got so much power, I've been told. I've been through so much bullshit.
Yeah, pretty simple, right? It's a lot, but that's pretty much how the process goes. And then let me see. Okay. That's pretty much how the process goes. And then after that, I edit everything together, we release it on Patreon, and then we release it on YouTube. So, how many people on each team? Everyone is kind of like everyone can do everything in the studio. I delegated everyone to do storyboarding and coloring more because that takes the most time. But I also have positions for rough animators as well. We're not hiring any more people, but we have those kind of positions as well. When creating a project, where does the concept process start? Do you consider the characters or the themes in the plot? Add-on question, what pre-existing media has inspired and impacted your work? I like this question. This is also a really good question. When creating a project, where does your concept process start? Do you first consider characters or the themes and overarching plot? So, I focus on the plot, and then I focus on the characters. I don't really... let me rephrase it. I focus on the theme, and then the characters, followed by the plot. As in, let's just say the theme is... follow your own path, or something like that. I create characters reacting to this kind of theme, and based on how they would react, will formulate the plot. A lot of the stuff that I create is very very character driven, because I think relating to the characters is more important than what goes on in the story, because every character's story is different, and that's what I value. What pre-existing media has inspired and impacted my work? If we're talking about the art style specifically, I think it's self-explanatory to say Pop Tropica and Diary of the Wimpy Kid, Jeff Kinney. big bulbous eyes, kind of self-explanatory there. But if we're talking about like the creative writing, that's tough because I'm not really a huge fan of a lot of how movies and stories are written. Just because they focus on the characters as a last thought, and they create the plots more. I mean, if it helps, I really like Wes Anderson's work. But I like his work more on the editing styles as opposed to... I like his work in terms of editing as opposed to... and directing, rather than the plot. I don't think I have like an inspiration towards the writing side of things. I want to do the type of stuff you're doing when I'm older. So what is it like to be in your position? What are the steps on the way? What does it feel like to do your dreams? It's hard. No, like, look at me. Hold on. I want you to look at me. You see me? It's hard. The biggest thing that I'm dealing with right now is money. Cause like, people can do anything they set their mind to do. It's just that, do you have the means to do it? And it's hard. I don't have a lot of money. I'll be transparent. I am borderline poverty. I'm lower class poverty. But I'm not really much of a materialistic person. So other than paying for bills, a lot of the money that I have goes into paying off these artists and animators because that's my passion. That's my dream. I'm willing to sacrifice that kind of stuff. My time, my dedication, my time and effort to fund these wonderful people who also see the passion that I have. The steps on the way is, I mean, it's to have like an idea. If you have an idea, you'll do anything you can to achieve this kind of goal. I spent a lot of time doing research. The producers I have are talking to me about the business side of things because I do not know anything about articles of information or filing an LLC or doing anything like that. I like to draw. But that's what these people come in. They come in and help me out there because I care about the studio so much that I want to pursue that. What's it feel like to do my dream? Honestly, I don't know if I can answer that yet because I'm living the dream in the sense of I'm living what I've wanted to do for a long time. But I'm not at the position that I want to be. We have a lot of... it takes time. For me to be able to fund the studio and to really get us out there, I'm anticipating this being 5 years, 10 years maybe, but I care a lot about what we're doing, that I'm fine sacrificing all that time. It just determines of how dedicated you are to want to pursue this. So, next question. Oh, that's it for those, that's it for those questions. I have one more question, but let me see if I can pull it up. Here. What app do you use to animate? Everyone in the studio works in their own programs, but primarily I want people to work in the Adobe Creative Cloud. So in terms of my projects, I work on with Adobe After Effects, Premiere, Photoshop, Animate. That's where most of my work is done. But I have people who work with open source programs. Some of my rough animators work in Toon Boom Harmony. But I want the final product to be in Adobe Animate, primarily because, yeah, I know Adobe sucks, but Adobe also has it tied to everywhere in the industry. Adobe is in the industry, and every program that you work with Adobe can be used with other programs in Adobe. And that kind of comfortability is really useful for me. And I've also been using Adobe Animate since I was 9, so I'm kind of used to working in that kind of program. Would I want to be working in Toon Boom Harmony? Yes. If it wasn't stupid expensive. If it wasn't a stupid learning curve. Yeah, I know Adobe is expensive, but I can't spend thousands of dollars on one Toon Boom software that I might not even use all that time because I don't know much about it. I could learn, but that's a lot of dedication to something that I just don't have the time for at the moment. And that is... Oh, I have another question from the crew. I can't show it because then I would be releasing any confidential NDA stuff. But someone asked me in my crew server, what is my favorite to do? Animating or drawing? That is a tough one. I'm going to say animating. I'm going to say animating. I'm going to say animating primarily because I'm doing a lot more just what that I enjoy. I like drawing when it comes to an end goal of something that I can use for the studio. For example, if I'm making an avatar, if I'm making commissions, then I'm gonna love the shit out about those because it opens up my horizons and it opens up my horizons. It challenges me. It makes me more critically. It makes me more variable. Like, it gives me variety, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But when I'm animating, it doesn't matter what I'm animating. I just like the act of animating, period. If that makes sense. I prefer animating because it doesn't matter what I'm animating. I'm fine with it. But drawing, I like drawing with an end goal. Another question I got right here. And then I'll answer the question I have in chat. Oh, wait, no, I have 2 more questions. I have a lot of questions. Please feel free to leave questions. This is a lot of fun. I like answering questions. It shows me that people care enough to really dive deep and see what's on my mind, kind of thing. Someone said, how do I do it? I don't know. I just do it. At a certain point, you do something for so long that it just becomes second nature. And I'm not really... Yeah, it's tough, because at this point, it's just second nature to me. And I'm not, like, thinking, oh, shit. Excuse me. I'm not, like, thinking, oh, shit, how do I do this? How do I do that? I just kind of already know how to do that, if that makes sense. It at a certain point, is second nature. Someone else asked in the server, if you have infinite money and infinite free time, where would you take RoboRebellion Studios? I want, like, my dream for RoboRebellion Studios is to release every single IP that I have. Work with every single YouTuber that I've watched in some way, shape, or form that I grew up with. I want to work with Jax Films. He's my favorite YouTuber. I want to work with Smosh. I want to work with... Well, I mean, I worked with Anthony Padilla twice, so that feels great. But I want to work with Smosh. I want to work with Cam Steady, which I grew up watching his content, and it's great. I also want to be able to take RoboRebellion Studios to have graphic novels and other IPs, but still have it around the same setting, same universe, just a different story. I want to be able to have a studio in Burbank. That's something that Burbank, California, which is something that I'm really aspiring to do right now. I also want to open up a nonprofit charity organization glorifying LGBT and neurodivergent creatives, and seeing if I can give people grants for if an autistic person, for example, wants to go into acting, or if a lesbian wants to go into directing, or if a person with Down syndrome wants to go into writing, stuff like that. I really want to glorify those kind of professions and creative avenues for the people who don't really get treated with respect, because I understand how that feels. And that's my dream. Another question I got right here, and then I'll move on to the question in the chat. What is, because I do see your text, sorry, Toast. I do see your question. What is the most challenging part of getting a studio started? Oh, whoops. No, not goodbye. You looking at me? Money. Everything's expensive. Everything is expensive. Every single thing costs money. It is so hard to raise up so much money just to feel like you're just losing it again. For example, let's just say we need to get another drawing tablet because someone's drawing tablet acted up. I can raise up the money for that drawing tablet. But when that money is gone, it feels like you're back at square one. A lot of the stuff is money. All of it is money and time and effort there. That's what's the most challenging part, because money is not infinite. And especially in my position being, again, poverty-stricken and lower class, a lot of the stuff that I have, all the money that I usually get, if it's not 2 bills, goes to the studio. So that's the most challenging part. Alright, so I see we have one more question in the chat, but if anyone else has questions before we end it off in this stream, feel free to let me know. I have been talking for an hour straight. This is very draining for an autistic person. But let me go ahead and answer the question in the chat and pull up the PowerPoint. There we go. Texas Artos in the chat asks, if you can disclose it, do you have an estimate percentage of how the budget is distributed? Like how much money goes to the employees, business, bills, etc. I've talked about this in the PowerPoint presentation, but right here, we have a goal right now of $7,200. The breakdown for the storyboards for animated episode 4 is $2,600 for the storyboards, $2,600 for the rough animations, $800 for the coloring, and then the void in the music video is $1,250 in and of itself. In terms of the business size of expenses like that, right now all that's coming out of my pocket. Any kind of storyboarding, rough animation, and coloring is either coming out of my commissions or coming out of my pocket. But with bills pertaining to the studio, like getting someone an Adobe subscription, or getting someone a new tablet, let's just say their old tablet crapped on them, or getting a new microphone for someone, that comes entirely out of my pocket. Again, like I've mentioned, monetization is not enabled, so a lot of the stuff is either hoping people watch the content and get monetization enabled, or just hoping for the best in terms of funding. So yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot. Hi, Richie. Oh, thank you, Komorebi. I gotta. Oh, Nat. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Thank you, Nat. Thank you so much for stopping by. Natalie's one of my producers for the studio. She's awesome. Such an awesome person. I love how like fact of the matter she is about the stuff that's going on in the studio. But I think that's it. I have talked about everything pertaining to the studio. Now, once the stream ends, I'm gonna cut the shit out of this video and post all of the archives on TikTok and YouTube because I need views. But yeah, if there's no other questions, I really care about Animated this series. Animated this series is a really fun project for me, and I've already spent $10,000 of my own money funding the show, and now we are raising up for $7,200 more. I'm really passionate about this. I have released the high-res renders. If you guys want commissions, go ahead and go to the link in the description below for that. But all in all, I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming onto the stream, supporting us, doing anything you can. if I see you in any other neck of the woods, please don't be strangers. I would love to say hi. And yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this stream. Thank you so much for watching the Animated the Series breakdown. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye! Oh, also, if you have other questions, you can leave it on the live stream. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the live stream once the live stream is done, and I'll answer them in YouTube Shorts and TikTok. Okay. Now, bye-bye. Bye-bye.